Have you ever heard of Thomas the Tank Engine? If you have been around little kids between the ages of 2 and around 7 or so, I'm sure you have. My son adored Thomas so much that he could name every single train, knew what colour they were, and the number they had painted on them. I was glad when I heard that he was coming to visit me over the summer, but I had a ton of work to do. So I bought him a Thomas via DVD. The cover looked innocent enough. What was so interesting was that Thomas was smiling and little wooden children were waving their arms out of the windows in his coaches. The DVD was called Thomas and the Children. He was so excited to see the DVD that, right off the bat, he pleaded with me to pop it into the DVD player. I went to work while he watched it. After a few hours, he came into my office, looking as pale as a sheet. "Daddy?" He spoke. His voice seemed weak. "Are you okay?" I asked, touching his head. I noticed his temperature has gone up. "Why did Thomas kill the children?" My heart sank like a stone, but I soon brushed it off. "I'm sure Thomas didn't kill the children," I reassured him. "Now you need your rest and some medicine." I gently pushed him toward his room. "Come on now." After putting him to bed, I got curious as to what he had seen. I popped in the DVD and began to watch the episode play. It seemed normal enough. The episode began as Thomas was told to take a group of children to the seaside by the instructions of Sir Topham Hatt, aka the Fat Controller. I noticed something odd though. There was no narrator in this episode. The rest of the episode then showed Thomas picking up the little wooden children and showed every single one of them climb on board. Then there was a scene with him zooming down the rails like he always did, and the kids were cheering, but then there was trouble, as they say in the show. Betty the bus was stuck on the railway tracks. This is when the episode got strange. Betty stared at Thomas in fear, but the little blue engine just smiled and sped up. What was even disheartening is that he started laughing. The kids were crying now, and little tears could be seen coming down from their wooden faces. Thomas crashed into Bertie, causing pieces of them to fly everywhere. Usually by now the narrator would say, "And luckily no one was hurt." But there was no recurrence for the kids. The episode then showed the carnage inside the coaches. Wooden limbs were broken off. What looked like actual blood had been splattered everywhere. Heads had been ripped off of the little bodies of the little dolls, and worse yet, the children still had tears painted upon their faces. Everything went to static. After that I felt myself boiling over with anger. What sicko would create something that messed up for little kids? When I paused the static, messages started to appear on the screen. Disturbing messages like kill, obey, multiply, and die. I watched the static for over an hour and noticed 30 different types of messages. I threw the accursed thing in the trash after breaking it in half. I would not expose my child to any more of that trash. Before going to bed myself, I checked on him. He was happily asleep and snoring, clutching his teddy. I had a nightmare from this. One where the children came into my room, but they were lifelike and as tall as a normal person. The twisted forms grabbed my limbs and pulled me apart, while I heard that blasted train laughing. Now I have woken up covered in blood, knife in hand, and I'm too afraid to go check my son's room. And that was Thomas and the Children, a Thomas and Friends creepypasta by Anonymous. Oh my god, what was this story? I mean, really, what can anyone tell me what all that was? Okay, I review story now. What the hell was any of that? So, basically what we're looking at is perhaps one of the most frustrating messes of a story that I have ever read. And like, you know, don't get me wrong, I love Thomas. I've loved Thomas ever since my childhood. If you've ever watched the Brit Allcroft classics, those hit just right. I will admit that, the grammar, the punctuation is at least competent. I'll give it that. I can tell that the father was a pretty good dad in the beginning of the story, but God, this was riddled with cliches. For one, no narrator, really? I mean, every Thomas episode has a narrator. I mean, Ringo Starr, George Carlin, Alec Baldwin, you name it. So why doesn't this one have a narrator? Was it an unfinished episode? Was it a bootleg? I don't know. And Bertie the bus being stuck on the railway tracks. How did he get there? How did Bertie get there? Like, come on, build up to it. Like, okay, so typically, well, actually, I don't know how vehicles get stuck on the railway tracks. Don't quote me on this, but I think Bertie was. I think he ran out of gas. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But that's one theory that I do have. But here's where the story gets bad, and I mean really bad. Thomas smiling and speeding up, even laughing as he charged at Bertie, which, okay, this is another ick of mine when it comes to stories like this, the characters acting out of character, because, Thomas would never, ever be that sadistic. I've seen, video posters of this story where it was an accident and Thomas was horrified by his actions, and that I could buy a lot more, because that would be more in line with Thomas as a character. The actual blood splattered everywhere. Come on, that's one of the biggest cliches in this story. Hyper realistic, real blood, whatever. Like, you can make the argument that it was possibly like, animal blood from like a pig or something. But even that would, be one of the biggest cliches I've ever seen. Red food coloring, I can understand. But actual blood, why? Just why? And then the going to static, which, okay, the VHS tapes do static, DVDs do glitches. Fun fact, if you play back this video, you could, like, I almost said VHS tape, because of whether that was foreshadowing of me stumbling across the static or not, I don't know. The pausing of the static, kill, obey, multiply, and die. The messages should not appear when the screen's paused. I mean, I don't think you can pause static, don't quote me on that, but I believe you cannot, that messages cannot pop up on the screen when it's paused. Just no. And why would you watch the static for over an hour? That's... Gee, is your life really that boring? And the nightmare segment. Okay, it was somewhat creepy. It was somewhat queepy. Why did I replace the R with a W? Please kill me. But the children being lifelike and as tall as a normal person, being these twisted things, that's kind of creepy. I thought the story was on the right track with that one. Yes, even with the train laughing. Then again, it's probably my analog horror brain rot, so... Then there's the ending. Waking up covered with blood. A knife in hand and afraid to check your son's room. Really? I mean, I guess he was sleepwalking and, killed his son in his sleep, but, why would he do that? He seemed like a very good dad at the start of the story. Oh. As you could tell, I am not impressed. I'm not impressed with this story at all. It's got a lot of cliches, and it's just a very, very frustrating mess of a story. My final rating of it would have to be like 3 out of 10. The grammar's good, the dad was good up until the end, the nightmare was creepy, but the rest of it, Thomas acting out of character and the general cliches of the story, God, those really killed the story for me. So leave your thoughts in the comments of what you thought of the story, and all that. And I'll see you next time. Stay awesome, stay spooky.